Hello everyone, welcome back. Excuse me. Well, thanks for all the comments, especially on Facebook. You overwhelmed me with your interest in my boxed records. So I'm going to do box number 2 today. And I just wanted to, before I open box number 2, I just wanted to show you a couple of treasures that I found in box number 1 after I finished filming last week. First one is this one, Smokey Robinson, and it's just called Smokey, and it's got a picture of a big planet on it, or a marble. Actually, it's a marble, isn't it? Well, this one was his first solo album after he left the Miracles, and he retired. He said, I'm done with music, I'm just going to be vice president of Motown, and I'm going to retire. And after a year of being retired, he found himself going bonkers. So he got back in the studio and he teamed up with a producer called Willie Hutch, and he made this fabulous album. And it's much more mature, it's a much more sophisticated sound than what he had with the Miracles. His voice dropped a bit, he didn't go into falsetto as much. He's still got that high silky tenor, but some wonderful tracks on it, a couple of cover versions. There's a brilliant version of Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. And his classic Baby Come Close was on this. So this was the start of him inventing what's known in America as Quiet Storm soul music. In fact, he released an album called Quiet Storm, and the name Quiet Storm for late night radio format programming came from that album. So Smokey Robinson, he's a well-known artist, but this album doesn't really get mentioned much, and it's his first solo album. So if you're interested, buy that one. Another one is this one, Sam Dees, The Show Must Go On. If you've got more than a passing interest in soul music, this is already familiar to you. But for people who are just getting into soul music, or people who don't know too much about it but are interested and like it, and this is one of the many albums to buy that you may not have heard of. He was a prolific songwriter and producer. He wrote for practically everybody. He wrote songs for practically everybody, and he released one album on Atlantic in the 70s, and this is it, 1975. And as far as 70s soul goes, this is up there with the giants. This is up there with Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder. It really is that good. So, and you know me, in my late teens and early 20s, I liked it so much, I bought it twice. So one of them was a radio promo copy, and it was scratched up to bits. And then this one, much better condition. So Sam Dees, The Show Must Go On, 1975. Some people are asking me, oh, you should play your music while you're on it. It's too much messing about. I've got to go over there, move the camera, just look them up on YouTube. All right, are we ready for, if you want to, that is. If you don't do it. Are we ready for box number 2? Let's have a look. I'm opening it. Customs forms again. Let's see. Again, I've got no idea what's in this box. Could be stuff that's so ridiculous I might have to stop the video and be so embarrassed that I'm not going to show anybody. But we take a chance. Let's have a look. See what we got, eh? And if any memories or thoughts come to mind, I'll share them with you, and I'll try not to go on about it. First one is Pops, We Love You. That was all the Motown artists got together and did a tribute to Berry Gordy's dad, who they called Pops, who died. And there's a song on here that features Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and Diana Ross, all on one song, trading off lead vocals. It's a really good song, actually. And there's some nice tracks on here. There's a couple of throwaways, but it's well worth picking up. It's a good album. Right, next one is Southern Soul Stock Volume 2. This is a compilation of lesser known Southern Soul albums. If ever, I used to buy a lot of compilations because I'm not what's considered a collector. I didn't collect the rare original pressings on first issue vinyls. I wasn't so crazy. I wasn't motivated to go and do that. But if I found a compilation that had one record that I liked on it, or one record I was looking for, I'd spring for the whole album and take a chance, because it was the music that was more important to me, not the rarity of the singles. And I know there's different opinions on that. Well, that's just me personally. Walter Jackson this is called I Want to Come Back as a Song. Now, Walter was a fantastic singer. If you don't know Walter Jackson, look him up. He had a career in 60s and 70s soul, and he had a wonderful baritone voice. The thing about Walter Jackson is he went from middle of the road schmaltzy stuff to really good soul music. So it was hit or miss with Walter, and you always got a bit of both on every album. And the other thing about Walter is he had polio, so he always performed in crutches, and so that must have been huge obstacle for him, but he overcome it all, and he's brilliant. He's well worth having a listen to. Walter Jackson. Another compilation, Tears in My Eyes. This is, look, there's a bloke there carrying another bloke because he must be feeling sick. That was some of the stage antics of the male soul duos. It's all from gospel, all this stuff. Raising the intensity to a certain level and then dropping it down. They call it tension and release. Raising it up a bit more next time, dropping it down, just to keep the dynamics and the tension and then the release. It's an amazing experience. And the soul singers were direct from gospel, and that's why they have that churchy sound. There you go. And that was called Tears in My Eyes, and it was one of the Kent compilations of the early 80s. I think, is it Kent? Yeah. They put out some fantastic records, Kent. A.D. Crosdell and all that gang. Brilliant. William Bell again, the best of. This has got his later stuff on stacks. Fantastic. Herbie Hancock, Future Shock. This was when electro funk and DJ scratching and mixing came out. Herbie Hancock, being the jazz giant he is, decided to get involved, stay on the cutting edge of music, and he made, do you remember Rocket? Big hit in 83 or 84. That's what this is from. And that really was a different sound, and it was in the charts. Hey? Oh, we have a fantastic singer here, familiar to everybody on the planet, I think. Al Green, Call Me. Can't go wrong with Al Green. Brilliant. Joe Simon, Looking Back, a compilation of his 70s songs, I think. Yeah, 60s songs. Nice singer, good voice, worth doing. Here's an interesting one. This is the Rance Allen group, I Feel Like Going On. Rance Allen, gospel singer. He was signed to Stax Records, and which is a soul label, and he was just phenomenal. I don't think you can ever find a better singer than Rance Allen when it goes to technical ability. The range he had, and how he could hit highs and low growls, and he just seemed to have unlimited vocal range and talent, and his ear was impeccable. He would do things in a song that you couldn't even imagine. Well worth checking out Rance Allen's 70s stuff. After he got to the 80s and 90s, his vocals started losing him a bit, but he still wiped the floor with most singers. That's Rance Allen, I Feel Like Going On. Brilliant album. Go on, go out and get it. Little Carlton. This is another compilation of some of his songs. I like this. I liked it all right. I wasn't crazy about it. He did Everlasting Love and stuff like that. It's good. Now then, Northern Soul. Anybody who grew up in the north of England or in England at any time in the 70s knew about Northern Soul. And it was an English term called, the terminology Northern Soul is more to do with north of England, not northern states of America. It was what the record collectors in the north of England were buying and dancing to. And they were up-tempo, styled after Motown, obscure singles, and this whole cult thing happened around it. And massive scene. It's still alive and active today. The dancing is spectacular, the acrobatic moves. But if you're not an acrobat and you just want to, shake your bum a little bit, you can do that too. no pressure at a Northern Soul venue. There were never pickup joints. You'd never go there to like in regular nightclubs. You'd never go there to try and find a bit of cat. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to be rude, but you know, a one-night stand. That's a good term. You'd just go there to dance and pop a few pills because they couldn't sell alcohol at these all-nighters, and stay awake all night and dance. Dance your head off, and dance your socks off, and dance your arse off if you want to. Slipping Around, a compilation about songs about people cheating on their lovers or husbands or wives. That seems to be a common subject in a lot of soul music. It's life, isn't it? It's grown-up people's music. That's what happens in the world. You've all done it. Secret's safe with me. Al Wilson, Listen to Me. Phenomenal singer. Not one of his best-known albums, but I really liked this album. It's got some good tracks on it, and it's got some throwaways on it. I like it though. Incomparable Ella Fitzgerald on Verve. Just a modern, it was a recent compilation at the time. It came out at that time. Budget price album. What can you say about Ella? I'm, one of the greatest singers to ever stand in front of a microphone. Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan. I put those on a par. Ella Fitzgerald reminds me of a horn section, and Sarah Vaughan reminds me of a string section. Both phenomenal singers. Look at this, Malcolm McLaren. Would you like more scratching? This is when scratching and hip hop, scratching entered hip hop, and Malcolm McLaren was there to exploit it all, and he teamed up with some rappers called the world famous Supreme Team. And there's a really famous song on here called Buffalo Gals. Do you remember that one? Do-si-do your partners. What's next? Tighten Up, I Just Can't Stop Dancing, Wally Jump Jr. This is based on the riffs of Archie Bell and the Drells' Tighten Up, and it's got that electro funk sound, and it was produced by Arthur Baker, who was a pioneer in electro funk. Jerry Butler, The Power of Love. Jerry Butler, phenomenal singer from Chicago, was one of the original singers of the Impressions, along with Curtis Mayfield, and he had a massive hit in the 50s called For Your Precious Love, and he just went on and had a fantastic career. Really good. Jerry Butler. He's got that deep, soulful voice. Soulful voice, and you know who else sounds like him a lot? Was Paul Williams of The Temptations. Reflections, Rick James. He's a super freak, this guy. He did some naughty stuff, Rick James, and he wasn't a very nice bloke apparently, because he had a lot of drug use and he was abusive to people and that. But as far as an artist goes, he was brilliant. He was really good, and it's worth, if you like funky music and you're a bit shy about dipping into Rick James, this is a good place to start. Any one of them, any one of his albums is good. Look here. Johnny Taylor, Eargasm. Get it? So Johnny Taylor had a real gospel voice, and he was a gospel race singer, and he took over from Sam Cooke in the Soul Stirrers when Sam left. And Johnny's career from start to finish, you can't go wrong. He had great taste, and every one of Johnny's albums has got something really fabulous on it. And I would recommend this one. It's a brilliant. I can't wait to try this again, because I didn't ever buy this on CD, and I don't have it digitally, and I can't wait to dig into that. Eargasm, Johnny Taylor. The Dells, There Is. Now the Dells has got one of my other favourite singers, this chap here. Look at him. That's Marvin Jr. Marvin Jr. had a thunderous baritone. You've never heard anything like it. If you've never heard Marvin Jr. sing, he used to trade off with the falsetto singer. I forgot his name. Johnny, I forgot his name. My memory nowadays. But look up a track called Always Together, and you can hear Marvin Jr.'s power on that. It's amazing. the Dells, there is. One of the kings, one of the giants, Otis Redding, Dictionary of Soul. Fantastic album. You can't go wrong with any Otis Redding album, this one included. If you haven't got this and you're into a bit of soul music, buy it. And look, it's got there, it says my. He's dead right, my. The OJs from Cleveland, but they're known more as a Philadelphia soul act because they did all their big hits on Philadelphia International. This is probably the best album they made, Ship Ahoy. So if you want to get one OJ's album, that's the one. You can tell them I sent you. All right, I'll just do a couple more because it's getting long here now. Donny Hathaway, an amazing talent. An amazing talent. He committed suicide and he had trouble. He had demons, but he jumped out of a hotel window in 1979 and he was having real mental issues. But there's hardly anybody in music who could match him for talent. He was just a pure musical. I hate to use the word genius, but I think I've got to with this lad here. I think I've got to. All right, that's it. Next one is Teddy Pendergrass. We talked about him last week. And then Godfather of Soul. This is the last one. Live at the Apollo. It's an all-time classic. You want to hear what James Brown was doing, how he was wrecking the house in the early 60s. They didn't want to put this out, you know. His record label said, we're not putting a live album out. Nobody's going to buy it. So he financed it himself. He was so stubborn and single-minded, James Brown, and then he went on to practically invent funk. So whether you like him as a singer or whatever, it doesn't matter. You got to give him due respect. He was an amazing talent, phenomenal. James Brown, Live at the Apollo, buy it. All right, I hope I didn't bore you. Thanks a lot. Box number 2, not bad, were it? Turned out all right. Some decent stuff. All right, see you again. Thank you.